Alright, so now we're at the point in our anatomy series that we are dealing with the pelvis. Let me come in a little bit so we can see a little closer here. So we're dealing with the pelvis. That is really the the quintessential kind of core structure of our form, of our human bodies. So I kind of think of it as a cradle, as a holder of many different areas of our body, but the lower, especially the lower core, as we know already, the abdominal muscles, the obliques, the erector spinae in the back, the lats, and the obliques here all have a location point on our pelvis. And you're going to find later on as we go deeper into the lower extremities that the acetabulum here, the ischium here, the ilium up top, the iliac crest, all this, and the pubic bone in front too, in addition, are really going to play a factor in also the lower extremities, also movement of the legs, and again, securing the upper torso. So this really is a hard working bone. It's a complex bone. It's divided into some parts here. Now, the sacrum is not necessarily part of the pelvis, although I include it. I include it in the spine, and I also include it into the pelvic discussions here. So let's talk first about, as we're defining some of the features, and there are a few that we want to know. It's a lot more complex than what we're going to study. And remember, we're studying as artists, for visual information. And there are about 4 or 5 parts we really want to get familiar with. So let's look into those and look into the basics of pelvic drawing and construction. And we can move forward from there. So the first thing I think about when I look at and think about the pelvis is it's really kind of a box form, a small little rectangular box. And I'll show you what I mean by that. I'll start drawing over here a little bit. I'm going to draw a little from 3/4 especially. And it's kind of a downturned box. It's about, if you take that angle, if we come here, this angle now here, and you see the downward trim of the ilium, the iliac crest here, and see how it kind of opens up this way. It's kind of a barrel, but also we can think of it as a slightly downward trending box into here. It's kind of a thin rectangular box. So I see it like that, and I see it coming down here as a slight angle here, okay, and here, and here. So let's put some of these boxes out on our paper first, and I'll put one now kind of in front. And I'm drawing and getting a feeling of the pelvis with the drawings as I'm working these little diagrams too, as well, to having a pelvis. I have the luxury of having one. If you can get a hold of a skeleton somehow, I think you're really better off. But if not, you can work from images. So we have a box here. We can feel that. Okay. A simple kind of box, and it's inverted, so it's a little smaller. I'm drawing this one a little smaller in front for reasons I'll show you, talk about in a moment. So the box there. Then we'll work one kind of 3/4 behind a little bit that I'm thinking of. So we'll have a box. That's a little bit more to the side. Let's see. Yeah, let's go ahead and do that. We'll just do a lot of these like so. Here, and now we'll get a couple more to the back here as we lay out some boxes. Be wider in back, because there are 2 different things I'm going to talk about that they can feel with pelvises a little bit. And the box works pretty well, but also later on will be kind of a bowl. So this is sort of a box in through. And if we drew the insides a little bit, that might help a little bit too as well. Coming down. So I think we have that beginning of the pelvis. So as we're working here further now, let's go back to the to the one at the top here and start to add a few features to our pelvis. And I've got an image now popped up, so you'll be able to see what I see. So as we're looking through, these really wing parts, these are the ilium up in through here, and they really kind of turn over, come down, really simple parts. We're going to simplify this quite a bit, and we're kind of feeling and working through this box structure. That's important. So we have the ilium parts, the sacral parts, and through here we're kind of fitting it, locating it in a box, coming back over to the ilium, curved over where those muscles, the obliques and the lats attached to. And we're going to come down in front. So we're feeling this box, the center here, and then coming on down right through here. All right, we're feeling this crest right in through here of working into the pubic bone area. So this is starting at the pubic bone here. These tend to very simply downward turn. Now I'm going to reduce the complexity greatly here. So we're just going to come down in more of a volumetric kind of feel to it. This is ridged in through here. This is ridged in through here like so. Coming on down, and then we have this pubic bone area, the tubercle of the pubic bone in through here. You can kind of see now this cartilage, this pubic cartilage in between here. We have got quite a bit of cartilage. Later on we'll talk about that joint in a moment, the acetabulum as well. So we have that. We can put a little cartilage line in through here. Then all we have to think about is to simplify this further, this side, this kind of winged part of the ilium in the, what is the acetabulum of the hip joint, and then the ischium back in through here. Let's simplify that. Let's just think of it as the side of a box over here. Come on down, it's shaved in, okay? Forget about all the peculiarities for now. Later on, when it's appropriate, we'll get to them. We'll come through, we can feel that box coming over, back around, and then that box down in through. So it feels really like a girdle or a holder taking shape. Now the acetabulum, or you'll hear me just say the hip joint, the ball and socket joint where the femur goes into later on, will come through here. We see that. We see it come through here, right? So the first thing we want to know is how to simplify it, okay? And how to get the most out of it. Now, you know that this is a bowl-ish form in through here, so we'll just put this in there for now. I'm not even going to worry about filling out the sacrum in through here. We'll get to finer points later on with that bone. But we want to think about this initial block. And a lot of times in your constructions of human figures, this will be all you need. And I'll just go ahead and split this up where we get down to the lower part of the ischium driving on through. And that's what you really need now. We started with a box. So let's work some now over through here. We'll do the same thing. So we know we found this center line, so we know we can do that center part, right? So we know we can work from the crest here and go through the iliac crest around down through the pubic crest in through here. I forgot that name of this little crest. I'll find it as we do our videos further. It's not that important as a name, but this crest down, kind of like a saddle, right? Opening up and through here. Then we'll come over, box this out, this crest in through here. That's the part we'll see there, right? That's the part we'll see. Now, we notice now this bone, pubic bone in through here, right? Kind of settling through. We know that this bone now is turning this way, turning, right? Back in that way. So, they're kind of like, if you'll notice, they're kind of like ears, little winged ears or mouse ears. So that's going to have a feeling to this box. So we'll come down, we're basically right over here, where we're at here. So we're coming down the crests, right? And we've seen where, remember our muscles in the past have attached along the sacrum the erector spinae muscles, right? Right in through here. So let's stop there. And let's don't do any more with that inside part. And let's just kind of feel this bowl emerging, this rounded part. Because later on we can conceive of these as a bowl if we want. We'll take these kind of around like so. And have a ball there. Now, we need a little bit more information here on the side, so let's bring down this boxy form here. Now, we're not on the edge of the box, so I consider the edge of the box about where the crest ends here, so about halfway down through the acetabulum, or the ball and socket joint. So halfway down, so here's our full breakage. So what we see now is coming forward, we can start to say about right in through here, we can come down that cradle, that box, and fill that out, come across here. We can even curve it, start to curve it if you want, just a little, we can do that. And then back over and in, and up through. So there we have our pelvic region right in through there. And if we wanted to get a little fancier, we could come down and say, okay, here's our ischium through here. A little bit lower in my box. You can alter that box as per your needs, and then the pubic tubercle right in through there. Okay. All right, so let's go on to another here. This is a little wide, so I'm going to reduce my box in. So that box ratio, it's rectangular. It's wider and longer this way than it is tall. So it's not that tall. So that pelvic girdle. So we'll lay in a box here. So what we can do is kind of feel these, I like to feel the edge of the box here coming over now. So I've got my pelvis back in position here, around and over, okay? And this curves a little bit through now, even in our little boxier approach. We can feel that. And this is going to affect a lot of times this little bump in area up through here and around with the external oblique. Then we'll come down and we'll just box this down. I know it's more complex, but let's keep it simple. Here, around and over. Okay, like so. Then we'll drive the other side over, right? On our box. Coming down and get our thickness here, so we won't see the inside part of this crest through here. Okay. Then we know we can drive over. Then we're going to come down those ears. Remember, the iliac crest in through here, drive down in through here, and reconnect up, back through that line, right in through there. Okay. So now we can come over and say we've got our nice cresting pubic crest curve in through here. Let's find our center in perspective here and over, right in through here, so we can crest through. And this is where this starts to get really into a bowl, doesn't it? Or a cradle. Cratering over here, or bowling out over here, if you will. Here's our front, where our pubic tubercle would be. I just kind of think of it as this front little cylindrical tube right in through here. So these particular techniques are what we use to think about complex forms and structures in the beginning, for lay-ins, for animation, for fine art drawing, to get a sense of how we can think about this complex structure quickly and easily. So we can have a little thickness here. Okay, and then we can come down more now with our ischium, okay, and here, and then from the center of the tubercle, really out about 35 degrees. And through here, and over, and downward. And through here, and I might even come up a little here, and then break this in just a bit, right in through there. So I'll darken that up just a little bit so you can see that. Clean that up a little bit. Just our simple concept of the pelvis. Center, and on down through. And then we can get our little feeling of this opening, this bowl-like oval area of the pelvis in through here and down and around. Reading up later, and this would be inside here, like so. It's kind of a heart-shaped oval in through here. There we go. And let's do another one from more of the back over here. So this is more of this little cylinder for the pubic tubercle right in through here. So in our back view, we notice we have a raised back of the box here, right? We have this box raised. And then we bring down really quickly these angles of the ilium wing to the acetabulum back to the ischium and through here. And it really, see how it comes in, dives in further. So this is, whoops, excuse me, this is at an angle. So if we put a straight line against that, you know, look how much that's probably, I don't know, more than 45 degrees right in through here. So it's pretty acute through here, like so. So there's that box in through there. Okay, so what do we notice now with this box? We won't get much of the inside, but what we can get is this wing part here now from the back. And so we can kind of bring this up a little further in our box and over to here. So the iliac crest over where the sacrum is going to fall here. And then we can get the other crest, the ear, in through there. And they're relatively symmetrical. They're not perfectly symmetrical, but they do fall over. I tend to think of them as mouse ears at this point in time. So over, like so. And then the sacrum here fits snugly in between and fits underneath a little bit where the iliac crest kind of comes over them a little bit. Now, as they come down, they're going to keep that degree. So we want to just keep our simple box, don't we? So we've got that. We mark a little bit of where the sacrum turns and heads downhill or back into the body, right? So, like that. Okay. We won't even go for the coccyx for now. So we'll come back in, and we've got the finishing parts of our form. Now we could get a little bit of that bowl coming through here, right, later on, but our first simple lay-in, if we can think this simple, then later on we can build and will build complexity. The ischium curves, at least we'll go back into so we could get those coming out, maybe a little bit longer. So here's kind of our center point here, okay, we have that. And so we can head up into that particular curve again like we did earlier here, right, and down. I'm going to go just a little bit lower like I did on the other side. And we've got something really now to work with right through there. And the acetabulum comes through where the attachment of the femur, the cartilage of the head of the great trochanter would be inside this area. Of course, there are all kinds of ligaments that are holding that together. Okay, so those are the beginnings of one way to think about the pelvis. So from the box kind of format. So we'll write that down. We'll call that the box. We'll call this the pelvic box conception. Okay, I want to show you another conception. The Immaculate Conceptions of drawing, if you happen to be Catholic. The pelvic conception as a bowl or kind of a cylindrical form. So I'm going to change paper and we will explore those because you might like that even better. So let's try those on for measure. Okay, so let's now introduce the bowl as a concept for the pelvis. So when I think of it, I think of the iliac crest here, ridging around to this pubic crest in through here as the opening of that bowl. And the bowl is kind of tilted forward towards us. So I'll draw it in a profile view first. and let you see what I mean. So it's like this. I'll come over, let's see, come over here, and we've got this nice ellipse going in through here to here, and we're going to bowl down, taking into effect the sacrum as it turns in here, then down through the ischium part through and over back to the pubic region bone, which will be even more, probably even a little bit more angled later on. So now we've got this bowl to work with that I like to use sometimes in my pelvic conceptions. So let's keep it simple now. So we know that this can be the center of our construction, kind of in 3/4 and around and through here. Okay, so we have that. So about halfway over and around is where the ilium wings are, crest in through here, so we can crest over because we're kind of looking at it from the top in through here. Okay, so we have that boxy kind of construction. See how we can begin to place that over, and then down, we'll just go right through the acetabulum, all the way down through, and if we want, we can box this off or square it off a little bit, still keeping the curve of the bowl, coming on over, and then catch the ischium down under, really keep it really simple, okay, and through, and then we're going to come back up now to the pubic bone, and we're going to take this lower now, so we have to come in. We see how that ridge is lower, so about right in here is where I'm going to shoot from for now, right in through here, okay, curving around and up to here, and then we'll just bring this curve. See how simple we can get, and we know this is going to come all the way back around now, through and over. We'll measure and take in a perspective in through here. Okay, so we're round in through here. Okay, we're coming over. Don't worry about what's coming through. We just want to get a feeling where this crest is on the other side. Right in through here, coming up, cresting up and over, and boxy. And remember, we're going to put the sacrum, just that beginning plunge underneath right through there. So we've got those wings. This would come underneath, like so, and right in through. And there we've got the basis of a very simple, constructed, kind of bowl-shaped pelvic unit that we can do a lot with later on. So we can feel the sacrum kind of come down in through here. And then we can finish out that bowl crest on the other side that holds muscle, abdominal material, etc. And we're ready to kind of work with that pelvis unit. Now what we can also do is bring down the ischium break here, right? That we've done before, and this one would be right over and through there. And there you see we're ready to go with our basic, very basic pelvic structure, even without the acetabulum or the hip ball socket joint, which would be obviously about right in through here. A little bit more forward pushing. They're not so side pushing. They push a little bit more outward this way. We'll get into that in just a little bit and why that does that with the trochanter. So let's go on now to a front bowl here. So it's, you know, when you think of this, you could think of it as a ball too. We're slicing that ball. So if I come up here and draw, if you think of it as a rounded, I mean, how simple can you make your constructions? That's what you want. You know, a ball and then this slicing of the ball down, right, into a pelvic unit. Here's opening, here's the front part of the pubic bone would be in through here, right? Look at that. You're already on your way to resolving some of your drawing problems right in there. It kind of looks like a cat. Little cat head with ears maybe. Whatever works best for you. So let's draw some more of these bowl constructions, and we'll come down front here And so as we go through the crest, around the bowl here, so I'm just getting this, mimicking this movement here in front. That's important, right in through here, mimicking that movement. Then we're coming down, opening. See this bowl really opens, our abdomen opens down, so that angle's about 20 or 30 degrees from the profile. Opening downward here, so there's that opening right through, okay? Then find that real true kind of center of that cartilage, and then downward. And so this wants to come down and then out. Obviously, remember before, out like so. So there's our center. We could even put our pubic tubercle cylinder right in through there. Then let's finish it out. And where I kind of see the bottom of the ischium here, that's the bottom of my bowl, right in through here. Then coming up here, coming up into here. So it really is tilted forward. The pelvic region tilts much more forward to us. Take a look at that. Make sure we get that, yeah, right and straight up for you. How it's tilting nice and forward to us, kind of opening up the world to our midsection in a way. Okay, so now we'll come up and we can quickly make this bowl into the pelvis. So when you're drawing the model, you can conceive of this and then quickly come up and try to find the end points of those crests, of the iliac crest, right in through here, okay, and down and over, parallel over. That's why box helps too as well. So we're coming through, up, and we find that over. Now this is greatly simplified, and that's what we want. We'll get to a complex one. Okay, then we're going to come over, right, find that ridge, find its ridge point here, and then find that ear, right, the mouse ears, if you will, to our sacrum here. Bring that over to our sacrum here, over here. This gets flat ridged here, so it narrows as it gets back on this view, and then we lose that ridge altogether. It still stays thick, but you see back in through here, just in this view, it gets a little bit more narrow as we come down. And so we have our running parts, and so about a third of the sacrum is where we'll find that inner bowl right through here, and that will connect up down to underneath. Here we'll just feel it roughly as it gets more complex down with the ischium and the foramen, which are the foramen of the holes between where nerves and other processes go through here. Then we'll get the tubercle connected up. Keep it simple. Don't worry about other parts for now. And then from that center point, we get the pubic cartilage through here, and then we get that downward trend about 45 degrees to get to our ischium. I'll get those confused all the time. I always pronounce. All students are always saying, "Oops, that was the ilium, not the ischium." These are the ischium, or you can say ischium. Up and through and over, and then we have our simple pelvic girdle. So you can see where that construction really works into our advantage as well, quite nicely. I'm going to put on the sacrum here just a little bit too. This pops out, it gets wider, and then it downturns as we get into those lumbar, coccygeal lumbars here. This would open up here. You see that come out, remember that? Like so. Really the wide ones downward trending. There we go. And these would downturn. You can see this all down trends to get us to here, and then downward here, and then downward into the floor of the pelvis through here. You know, when we're talking about the pelvic area, men tend to have more narrow pelvic reaches, and women tend to have wider ones, and I think it's obvious for childbearing reasons. So men tend to have broader rib cages and narrower pelvic units, and women are just the opposite. So you're gonna have to find out which of your pubic constructions do you like the best, and that'll be up to you. You can go with the box, or you can go with the cylindrical kind of tube. So we'll have a 3/4 here from the other side, and just feeling it across. Okay, look at that opening. So this angle already, what is that? That's about 20-30 degrees of change, of opening up to the world. And we can see this as our pubic tubercle region right in through here. Keep this really simple. Now let's finish out the disc, bowl disc, right in through here, right? Now we can kind of separate it apart. So we can come up on the ridge of the disc here, right? Look for, as the raising of the crest, the iliac crest comes up with the ilium, they come up, and where they start to make that bony change, that will show up on the model too, by the way, with the oblique. These will come over like so, and then down. This will come over like so, over in perspective. Okay, keep that in mind. And that's why the box is so important too as well, so you can think of them both together if you need to later on. I do, but each singling them out really, I think, also helps. This is going to foreshorten up and over and through. It's greatly simplified again until we get a little thinness here, and then we'll come around and we'll get those, really remember those mouse ears coming over through here. Mouse ears, we're going to get a great deal of thickness through the crest of the iliac crest, and this will turn in and then downward turn, and we'll get, this is all we'll get where the sacrum starts in through here. And we can find that inner curve about where the sacrum starts to turn in, right in through here. So we could draw that now inward like a box, then down, and then over, and then we start to get more to the coccygeal region as we push downward. That wants us to look into that bowl, and then we turn, and we're turning in now and then downward into that bowl region, downward in through here. Now let's finish this out. We'll come straighter here off the bowl a little bit inward, and then pick it up where the ischium would be. Just keep that simple. Here we have our center of our tubercle, out about 45, out about 45 here and here, right? And that's going to get our ilium, our ischium, excuse me, our ischium in through here, right in through here, then up. Now, of course, that will curve over, etc. We're going to keep it that simple. A lot of times, that's all you might need. Now, we're going to go greatly deeper, but for a lot of your simple figure constructions, you may not need more than that. Let's go to a back view. So again, like when we talked about in our box constructions, the back view will arch up. So if we're drawing a 20-degree tilt of our box from the straight back, those ears of the ilium, the iliac crests, will merge out higher. So here's the back part of our bowl, our ellipse for our bowl, right in through here, okay? And then we'll come down that downward, just like our box did, that downward trend here, and then through, and then we'll get to the ischia, back through here, okay? So we have that. Now this will be the front and through here. So we could then easily split this apart and find the top of the sacrum about and less than a quarter, so maybe 1/5 of the way. Let's see right here, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 parts down where the sacrum will end right in through here, and then we'll see the overturn of the crests come through. Okay, they overlap the pelvis. You can see that in your photo your reference material. They'll come over, keep it simple for now. Downward trending. This gets thicker here. Keep it boxy and simple. It's more organic, I know that. Relatively symmetrical here and over. Okay. It's a hard-working bone, the pelvis and the sacrum together, in with the femur. A lot of glutes in there and abductors. A lot of ligaments down and through. So we're coming around. Now we'll find that box over here. Remember that strong degree of change, and over, back through this way, shave, back through this way. And then we're going to find the top of the sacrum here, and then we'll put it down below a little bit as it's here and here, stretching, okay, run it through here, a little bit wider through. And there we go. We get the downward trend now here, like so. This trend is like this. Here we have spinous processes on this sacrum here, right here, 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 and down below. And then we have the coccyx region, just generally. I'll just add that in just really quickly through here. Kind of a boxy arrow shape coming down. So we have that. And then, of course, now we want to come back up to this inner curve, or pubic curve in through here, and we're at 45, so our tubercle's here on the inside, okay? And then we'll come out right here, come out here, find our ischium, and just fill that in. How easy was that once you start to see this process a little bit? So that's building off of the bowl, building off the bowl, that simple construction of the bowl. What I want to do next is to slow it down and draw some pelvises that are in, well, we can do little positions too as well. We could do that as well, but I want to slow down and really break apart the parts for you and do a more finished-esque looking more pelvis, taking a little bit more time, adding on the acetabulum here, the joint, talking about a little bit more about the foramen in the back of the ischium too as well. It's pretty hard-working material, but you can draw the pelvis in many different directions if you want to work with the bowl, which we're doing here. See how I can just turn that bowl if I want to turn it upside down, right? There it is. There's the bowl there. So you can turn it in many different directions, and right there's the iliac crest in through here, pubic bone in through here, the ischium, and you're on your way really quickly. You can turn and change that quite nicely. All right, so that takes care of the box and the bowl. I'll call it the bowl right down here in green, so we can see that as well. So the kind of the bowl cylinder, I think that's important to recognize. All right, let's go on now to our next phase. Actually, I want to do more now, these little pelvis studies, but I want to do them in some more difficult positions. So you can see how you can take this object, and you want to be able to take every bone and really every muscle and isolate it and be able to draw it in many different positions. In order to do that, you want to simplify the structure and, quite frankly, simplify the anatomy. So let's do some now in some boxes and some bowl forms that give us a little bit different viewpoint. So we might say we could do a box where we're looking, or a pelvis where we're looking underneath a little bit. So maybe like something here. Okay, so you know that it's kind of a rectangular form, and if you can start to feel your way out in that sense, you can really craft a pretty good pelvis and think about the actual bottom part of the line of being, pretty quickly. So we're kind of in this kind of position, looking at the form, which could be a reclining pose, etc. So if we start to think about that, we've got the iliac crests up in here. We can take them over and down. So we'll keep it simple. We'll reduce all that with the sacrum part is down and over by the ischium, right? That's going to be in through here. We're going to keep all that simple. So we're going to have the crest, and then we're going to bowl that over to get that pubic crest. Here's our middle, about right here. So that's our end of our pubic crest area in through here. That will come over, right? And then back around in this way. And then we can get the crest coming back over on the other side and down and through, and that's going to start to curve in. So we're already getting a pretty decent feel for it just in a very, very short amount of time. This can come over now, the last part of the ischium down and through and up at about 45 coming out and through, and you've got a pretty quick little pelvic kind of box girdle that you already were beginning to kind of feel through and work with and make whole. So a lot of times in your explorations of your concept of that area when you're drawing a model, this may be all you need. Of course, the oblique would go over it. The glutes would come around and go over. And then you could, if you wanted to, you could simplify this wing a little bit further. And again, I hesitate because I don't want to go too complex, but then you could get the acetabulum in through here, where you get a little bit of the opening of the orbit for the trochanter of the femur coming in through here, and of course you get a little bit of the foramen in through here. But I don't want to get too complex, and that would be enough. That's all you really have to remember. Now we're going to go in deeper so that we can feel our memory and feel our experiences deeper. But that's one of an odd position. So we used a box there. Let's use a bowl now and maybe go for a position that looks a little bit more like this underneath. So we might be looking up at the buttock a little bit. So we might have a tilt here. We'll do about 6 of these. And the bowl would tilt in a little bit, like so. So that's the bow. This will be the sacral back in through here. So we have a little bit of an angle, right, coming down this way, about 20 degrees. Then we feel this bowl underneath. So we'd already feel it. You wouldn't get it through here. You already feel it in through here a little bit more of an oval bowl. So we have that. So when we can start to pull this apart now, think about this. Now, we're looking underneath or on top through it here. So we'll feel this undertoe here, the sacrum. The sacrum would be here. We could come over a little bit, and then we could start to take that through, and then we could come over now with crest here and over through here and already get a feeling of that kind of open bowl. And then tilting downwards, I'm going to bring down the conception of my pubic crest, coming in down and through there, and then up and over, and then around, and then we can, of course, we can get the tubercle already through there. There's our tubercle in, and then the ischium will come off through there. They'll be a little bit longer and through, and we're pretty good already right in there for a quick sketch. What was that, about 15, 20 seconds? And if we wanted to go with the sacrum even further, we could go there and see how quickly you can craft this pretty complex object. So let's take another position. We'll use a box. We'll go for a little bit more of the back view in about this tilt here, coming over down in through here, and we'll move over. So I'm feeling this corner of the box about right here, coming down and through like so. We'll come down this way, and then we're going to see a little bit of this bottom part in through here and over. And then we'll come down like so and through here. It's like we got some construction workers outside the studio door. We have different classes that come through just fine. So now we're already set up. We have the center here of the sacrum. We can give it a curve, and this will be underneath. We get the coccygeal kind of direction in that way. Look how quickly we can analyze this. So we can take that sacrum here, right in through there, come up Basically, it's volumetricizing the pelvis. Quick little volumetric studies to keep them really simple in your mind. And you can take these to complex solutions later on. Now we're going to just bring this angle of the acetabulum, or the joint, hip joint there, ball and socket joint, come through, okay, bring this over. We can see that of the ischium below that and through here, okay, and we're just going to box this out. I know this gets more complex in through here. Box it out here, okay, box it out there. We're going to get this view of the back of the iliac crest, a little bit more of the box coming down, and we're already just about there. Maybe we can get a little bit of the crest coming in through here, okay, and over, and then maybe just the bottom up, just an indication how that flow of the sacrum comes in through here, and we get that flow back in through there. And that's all you need. If you can get these done in as short time as possible, without a lot of specific fussiness. The hardest part is going to be, and I'll throw just a little bit of the socket, is to get these without a lot of fuss. You're going to try to get more detail than you need. Keep them really, really simple. And then find out what you prefer, the box, or do you prefer the bowl. Let's go on to another one. All right, let's take another difficult view. Let's maybe go underneath a little bit, something like this. And so it almost screams out box, really does it. Sometimes you have to decide what you want your conception to be, box or bowl, depending upon your viewpoint. A lot of times when I get more of an open idea like this, I'll go for more of a bowl. And then sometimes when it, quite frankly, when it just looks boxy, I'll go for a box view. So if we had something like this, how do we control that viewpoint? Well, it's really kind of a triangle here, a triangular form. You need to be, solid about it. So we're, in this kind of tilted, position. So we see that, kind of coming down. That's the first thing I start with. And then the downward trending edge in through here, we get into where the pelvis would be, where the sacrum would be. So the sacrum is kind of coming across this way. That's what I see, kind of coming down. So we can see that. And then we see the sides here now of that box. So I'll just kind of finish it off with that sort of shaved down, kind of boxy form. And then we can go to town. A lot of times, again, I anchor what I look for a lot of times where that sacrum is. And that's going to be where those iliocostalis, the longissimus, and the spinalis, the erector spinae muscles will be. So now box this off, volumetricizing here, and then coming down, around here and over. So we'll have that through here. We'll kind of feel that box. And here's kind of the planar angle. You have to be a little bit more flexible in this position. And then we can kind of shave. We'll feel this sacral part kind of shave down right this way. And then we can come back over here and take on the other iliac crest, part of the ilium in through here, coming over, and then take it down. And then we've got this side plane. And then this will feel here a little bit like a shaved plane in this way, right? In through there. It's a little thick, but we can thin that out just a little bit as we kind of come down here, come down this way. We could shave this down to get this kind of feeling of this part of our pelvic girdle really moving down in that direction. And then we'll kind of end it here underneath, right? And we'll see where the pelvis, the sacrum part ends, and through here we could box that off right in through here over, and then getting a little bit of that under bowl, even in the boxy part of it right in through here. Now we could take off again the ilium part for now. We'd feel this, and we get maybe with that tubercle again would be here, and we come back and now at 45 and get the feeling of the ilium ischium actually. I'll always get this kind of confused. Just bear with me. In through here, and over, and maybe around too as well. We'll be totally fine through there. Here we go. And so we'll just tighten up this little edge, and we've got essentially a rudimentary, easy to work with pelvis later on that we can start to get a lot more detail. And of course, we get the sockets for the hip bone, the femur coming in through here, around that way, and that way as well. Let's go on to another one. We'll use another bowl. Maybe for if a figure's tilted back a little bit, like that, we might get something where we see this pelvis kind of in this direction and tilted back. How can we handle that? Well, we might feel this then as a bowl form here. Cross. Here's our bowl form. Right through here. This is our kind of the top here, but then we're going to have to essentially then find our angle over. Now I can already feel the inner bowl coming down, so we're down, and then we're coming down a little bit, remember, at about 20%, so we're a little bit raised up here, right? Coming over, raised up, and coming over. So that's going to put us, our undercurve here, and here, and over, like so, like so. So we already kind of get that undercurving pelvic floor down here, like so. And then we can start to put right quickly on the sacrum right in through here. So I'm kind of tilted. I've got the photo up to help. So I'm drawing mine from life, which is important. Right in through here, and we kind of get that view of the sacrum. And of course we get the lumbar, the last lumbar spine in through here, sliced like so. There we get that. And so now we can come back really quickly and get these volumetric parts of the iliac crest in through here and over, volumetric and kind of boxy, coming around and over. These will meet roughly on the same over to here. Okay, just get their general volumetric, feel using your basic construction, either a box, either a box or a, to finish this in black, or a bowl form. Got that coming in through here and over. And then we can come over and down as we get to that pubic crest. Area coming in through. Okay. And over underneath here. Get this moved down. And you can see in no time we've got pretty nice rudimentary situation. Now we have our cartilage separating very easily through here. And let's get our 45 degree coming out. You can see how that works here, works here for us as well. And then we can come out and get just the beginning of the ischium in through here. Running through here, and maybe just a little bit of the foramen for now too as well. Here, keep it really simple, and here. A lot of times what you'll look for in this view will be mostly the iliac crest, little dimple points right in through here, probably in this view, because you'll have the oblique coming out through here, and then the buttock will come around right in through here, and we'll get a buttock split. You can see how that comes together now, right in through here. And these will wrap around and also go through the trochanter, but that gives you a little buttock down below. All right, so I think we've got enough practices now of the pelvic area, the pelvic girdle, the box, or the bowl form, or sometimes two, depending upon your needs. And now let's start to go into a more precise picture now of the pelvic and analyze the 4 or 5 parts that you'll want to know for your drawing practice, which really just gets you in the early ballpark of understanding the form, but it actually is what we need for drawing. Keep that in mind. We're drawing and we're learning for drawing and art making and painting rather than true kind of finished anatomical medical school kind of thing, or medical illustrator, but mostly for drawing, and then being able to draw from observation and then also from imagination too as well, which is important, or out of your head, which is very important. All right, okay. So let's move on to a more proper view of the pelvis. Now we're going to look at the pelvis more properly in terms of more specific detail. I think the other studies were proper, but they're quick conceptions, mass conceptions about the box or about the bowl, and they're going to help us locate this pelvis. Anytime we want to, especially in the model, when we get to more particular aspects, when we add the femur and locate it into the acetabulum, and then we also get muscles pulling off different areas of the pelvis onto the femur and then onto itself in the sacrum, we're going to find that these points of reference, these little 4 areas, are plenty for us to know as artists. So what are they? Well, the areas now of the skeleton are broken down into 4 or 5 parts. So the one dominant part is the sacrum. We see that in back. Notice how it's curved. We've got that back part of the vertebral column into the sacrum and coccygeal areas with the spinous processes here. It's fused. Notice that this has been sliced, so we see the lumbar vertebrae through here, the last area where it sits on top. So we have this sacrum, which is really technically part of the vertebrae or vertebral column, but I like to think of it here too as part of it. Since the hip bones, we have 2 of them, they're detachable here and here, they come off, and they have this very peculiar sort of winged shape. See how they flay out a little bit, and they're divoted in here for insertion of muscle, both interior and exterior. The gluteal fossa in here with the gluteus maximum and medial and maximal glute will stretch and attach into these fossa in through here, but they have kind of a winged look to them as well. So we have the hip bones, and more properly we can divide these into the ilium. Here, this is the ilium with the iliatic crest coming through and around. This is important for drawing the abdominal muscles. You'll see the dimples here, these 2 processes here, these will show up on the model. We've seen that already. So we have the ilium, and then we have the lower, the ischium. Now I always pronounce them wrong, so forgive me now. Let me just forgive you for getting them confused. So they just they're so similar in sound that I'll say them one way, but hopefully the drawings will be clear. So the ilium, the ischium, the sacrum. Then as we come around this pubic little curve, this cresting curve, this bowl shape, we get to the pubic tubercle and the pubic bone in general, right in through here, where all the genitals sit in this particular area. And it's divided by a cartilage. So these are very much 2 bones that don't fuse, but they come together through cartilage. So ischium wings in through here, the foramen coming through, you can see that, the opening here of nerves and urethral material as well. We also have the acetabulum, acetabulum, acetabulum or acetabulum. This is where the femur attaches to the pelvic region by an interior ligament and by certain other ligaments that come out. We'll get into the femur later. also the ball socket of the trochanter of the finger of the femur come together and has a cartilage joint that overcoats that joint. So there's very much that spongy cartilaginous material that goes on inside there. So those are the parts. 1, 2, right? 3, sacrum 1, ilium 2, ischium 3, the pubic bone 4, and the acetabulum, really the hip joint 5, and then the forearm maybe even 6. All right, so let's jump in and draw these now. Let's do a nice proper study of a couple of views. So the first thing, we have an open view here. I'll go ahead and have a bowl conception of our pelvis region in through. So I'll start out with the bowl shape. So I'm looking at this opening here of this cavity around as I want to draw, and I want to sketch in through to get that shape in through here. Then we notice there's this tilt that comes down, and we'll do one over here in profile in this direction. And what we notice is that these wings come out, kind of like bird wings or bat wings, but there's a tilt downward of about 15, maybe 20 degrees. And so it really is nicely handled by a kind of a angled box in general. I'll show you what I mean. So we have this coming out a little bit, this idea like so, okay? And then that box is taken down here, and we get the placement of our pelvic box in through here. Here would be our center, right in through there. Our center now coming in through here, okay? And so if we finish out the bowl now of our pelvic form, we would start to see this bowl emerge downward, kind of like a cylinder here, and then cupped around. So we're going to come around here like so. Place our nice bowl. This will be a very light line in through here. Okay, so we have that. Now we could do a 3/4 position over here. So I'll put it 3/4 coming back now this direction. So we'll see that construction now. So it could go for either one. It could be a boxy bowl. Let's combine a little bit. Let's curve it a little bit here. Then kind of come over and down and through and around. Okay. So we'll see that. So this is kind of a boxy form, but then it's also kind of a bowl form in through here. So I'm thinking about this coming down. Here's my center point, and coming down and over and in, get to that pubic bone region. And then I think of it as a box a little bit. Now coming down and over till we get to the ischium area through here. Then I curve back over. Then I come back to get my box again to that side plan, about roughly right in through here. Then I can start to look in gently, generally, to start to get that bowl feel of the inner floor inside there, through here, and then around. So just a general kind of oval shape in through here. So it's kind of a little bit of outlining. Now hit those crest points there, and a crest point up and over in through here. What you'll notice is they'll generally be parallel in through here. So we're kind of twisting this and turning this over, and then looking down in it a little bit too as well. So I used a little bit of box conception, and I also used a little bit of a bowl conception too as well, to fashion this off a little bit here and around. There we go. All right, so now let's start back on the front, and we'll add to each of these as we go forward here through our drawing, through our thinking. And I think that'll help. So I'm having you work from reference, and I've got the live thing right in front of me. Anytime you can get the live live thing. So if you have, if you're at a school and you can find a skeleton to use, great. If not, you could buy one of these. You can buy a pretty well articulated skeleton for probably less than $1,000 if that's possible, or if you go in with friends, or if you're at an art center, or if you're alone by yourself, you can also buy one. We had to buy one as students. That was part of our fees, and so it came in parts, and you had to put it together. It was pretty cool. Okay, so now if we start to come back here, we can start to take the sacrum now. I generally, a lot of times in drawing, will look and find that sacrum, those dimple edges, which it'd be here on the model, even on the inside. You can see them emerging. Then we'll come in a little further now, and we'll start to get the sacral area defined a little bit further on the inside. So the sacrum comes in like so. It's kind of a bow tie form in this particular view, downward a little bit. Then what's happening is that bone, see how that bone turns? It turns like this. So we have this movement here, and we get a little bit of the ending part of the lumbar sliced off right in through here. And then we'll come down, and this gets very curved, so you can see the surface curve. Can you see how curved that is? Really a curved process downward down through. Here's the center part of it, which would look straight in through here. And then we get the end of the sacral condyles in through here and around. Okay, and then the coccyx part, coccygeal part will come in and around here. Okay, and then up and through and over and through and over through here. And then kind of get this kind of ornamented, kind of bony look, very strange and beautiful part of our anatomy in through here. And these are pretty rounded right in through here. And then this bone, the last very almost like a tail, right in through there. So we get some back in here, we get a little bit of this bony shield. Almost reminds me of dinosaur like Triceratops. We get a spinous process look through here coming through, and transverse processes over in through here a little bit as well as they curve around too as well and through here. So we get that. So we're feeling now pretty good in through here. We can start to now get more of this bowl form of the pelvic floor area. Now we can get the pubic bone kind of located. In what you learn is that look how open all this material is. There's a big gap in here for the bowels of who we are as a species in through here. Okay, so we have that and that coming around. So this comes over. This is basically what we're doing now here, over here, right? So we have that. Just to get that laid in a little bit better for you. I think it'd be easier on the references to have just do one of these at a time. So that tubercle here and then to here, right? So we're seeing that. So this is a pretty long open spot that we come in through. So we have that tubercle now through here. So we have see the cartilage. Let's finish out the oval. This kind of heart-shaped, little wider, opening up here. Okay, coming across through now. Okay, and opening up here further, coming on down and through. Now it goes deeper in there because we'll find the ends of the ischium in through there. Okay, so this is all very much now getting shaved, getting curved downward, isn't it? Right in through there. So that could be in a little bit of a shadow tending through here, all right? Like so, and like so. And through here as it comes through, right? So this is all coming downward. This material is like a bowl. It really is moving downward. Water will flow into this particular area. And then what we get, I'm going to mark it on both these sides here and here so we can work to it, is you get this curve underneath, and this gets us to the ischium, remember that 45-degree point. So we're at our cartilage here, our pubic tubercle cartilage, roughly in this region, okay? And through here. And we get this interesting nobule kind of form right off the top, these tubercles, where muscles attach, abdominal muscles attach to, or so they kind of have a heading, kind of a pointy process, and they curve in a little bit, and then as they go underneath and go wider, like so. So they're very much these three-dimensional turns and torqued processes here. So we've gone beyond now just the simple tube-like cylinder. We got to do that now to get more detail through here. Okay, so we have that coming through. So after this point now, getting back to the ischium here, these back parts as they come through, they're attaching and coming up all the way back up to the tubercle. See that? How they come all the way back up and into that. So we're at a bottom view here. So what we see is this over. This gets really, really sliced down. Okay. Our anatomy there. And this wants to curve up and come around. So we're under here, right, and we're curving up and coming around here. That gets a little complex, but if you draw it enough and you think of it simply like we have a bowl or a box, you're going to get this simple concept and be able to draw the simple concept, because that's all what you'll really need. But in order to get there, you have to go through more complex steps like we're doing now. So this comes down. Let's shade it this way. Coming into the form here. Okay. All right. So we have that working for us, moving through. Now, when in a front view, and since we're looking down on it a little bit, you're going to have some of this coming through and down. Remember, we're at 45 roughly, so we're out through here, and remember, we're out through here a little bit. And what I'm getting in our view, and this is important to see, is you're getting a little bit of this coming down now off the pubic tubercle down to now the ischium, and then outward. These come outward and 45 degrees over, and then they want to start to come inward here. So I'm just going to rough that in. Here we'll get both sides, okay? Because they're going to lead us over and develop the foramen, and then they're going to get the ball and socket joint, the acetabulum, in through this area. So let's do it now on both sides. So they're relatively symmetrical. So we can bring one side to the other here. Might see this as a little more of an opening and down, and then over through here like so, and over. There we go. And then that's going to wing. It's going to come across like so, like this. And then this point is going to have a little thickness in through here, a little thickness in through here. Okay, we can get a little shadow through there. Okay. Now what we see at this pubic, this little cresting turn, this up part of what I call the bowl, right in through here and over, as it starts to ring around. This comes up higher. See, as it comes up higher now, so we're ridging upwards and going up, we're going to see that come over and get higher. So we have to show that now in our drawing. And what we get now as we come over with this shape is the actual top of the acetabulum in through here, or the opening, I'll do it right over here, of the point where the femur, basically we're drawing that now, where the femur attaches into that socket. And it's deep. It's deeper on the back end, right, than it is on the front end. So it's a little bit deeper back there. It's kind of like a crater. It really is like an actual geologic construction or a crater. So we have that, right? And then once we get past the acetabulum, then we flare out just a little bit. Then we start to get to the front head of the iliac crest. The crest. Say it like that, crest. Okay, I don't know why I said it like that, but I said crest. Okay, is that annoying or what? All right, so we get that. Now I'm going to leave that there for a moment so we can think through this. This wants to curve and turn around. Okay, so that's curving in and turning around. There's that bone. So the acetabulum now, we don't see a whole lot of the opening. We'll get another view, especially here, where we're probably about right in through here with our pelvis, and I'll correct that when we get over there later on. So we get this underturning now of this bottom part right in through here of the pelvis coming up underneath and over. So we're going to see that bottom part a little bit, like so. There we go. And now we're going to be able to finish out this part, the back part of the ischium, or gluteal posterior part, where we start to come around. This flares out a little bit, like so, and then wants to come back in and connect together. So we get this underturning now, with the tubercle now is on top for sure. Then we get a little bit of shading in through here, shading, turning down, in through like so. And then we get a little bit now of the foramen showing through, right in through here. And you can see how that's got a thickness to it. Right, I'll show it to you right there. So that's got a little bit of a shave down thickness as this comes underneath and starts to gradually turn and come underneath there. It's a real complex little bone we've got with pelvis. It's a really hard worker like the scapula, I think. They're probably all hard working. Give the bones their due. Them bones, make sure they're hard working in through there. And then we can come up underneath and we start to get up in through here a little bit more as we turn underneath and get to this back part in through there. All right. So we've got that working for us in through here. Okay. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to finish this part out, and I'm going to leave that for the sake of a little time. So I think you've got that, and you can finish the rest of it on your own, so I can get to these other views coming in through here. So acetabulum in through, and then here the secondary part of the crest right in through here, and then we get to the pelvic crest in through here. And what you notice, it's very curved, don't you? Anatomists call this the wing of the ilium right in through here. This is kind of like a bird wing. As a matter of fact, to me, the whole pelvis also looks like a bird, like maybe a bat, a white bat flying, didn't it? You know, whatever it takes to figure out how you're going to draw it best. And you're going to have to, help yourself come up with good conceptions, you know, later on too. That's gonna help. So as we're coming across here, and you're around, we're going to come up and over. This is arched pretty high, and it gets wider. So see how wide we get in through there, and it gets a little narrower as we come back underneath. So just pay attention to what you see here. But as a general, then we're going to get as thickest point about the medial area of the now we're on the lateral end, but the medial part of it, right in through here, where we get the obliques, and then if we come back further, obviously we're going to get the lats in through here. Now this is going to turn down, okay, come on over, and then it's going to want to come right on back in and over and through here, and we'll get that other part of the sacrum. Now the sacrum comes in front of, we see that right in through here, right? Downward trending. This has a little bit of a divot as this turns in through here. And I mean, we could do a serious long rendering. Maybe I'll do that. I'll do a long rendering of a bone, like a real rendered one, just so you can see that. That's important to do at times, but you want to get their concept really of and how to draw them in their general sense, and you can get the detail when you do finished drawing. So now what happens here, this is overturned. This, be careful on these pelvises, I suppose, is they do this, and then all of a sudden they're also, this is a fossa, this is a hollowed out area a little bit. So it's underturning about right here. So we get that, right? Okay, make sure you get that. Sloping somewhat, or actually pretty greatly. And this wants to come over, this is overturning a little bit too as well. So we're overturning here, and then immediately we're starting to underturn over here. And it's kind of a, these are all soft, gradual transitions. See how this wants to do that? This comes underneath, like so. Real strong here, a little real strong divot of overturning in through here. And then this wants to come gradually down. This balls out a little bit here. So you want to feel those contouring. They all have a purpose. Sometimes I don't know all the purposes, and I don't need to. For our artistic understanding, it's not as important, but they do have, you do want to be accurate in their contouring if you can. All right, so I think we've got a good view there of what's happening here. Maybe put a little bit of, maybe a little bit of light on it since we're kind of overhead. Get a little bit of light here, and then around the edges to show that contouring around here. Show coming through and maybe down along this pubic tubercle and through here and around, because this really wants to stretch in and also go back under and then turn, and everything wants to go back in this ball pretty strongly, very strongly actually. Let's get a little bit more specific down through here. I mean, still, we could go to a level of rocky, kind of bony rockiness, but we're getting a kind of a good enough, I think, good specific view of what we want of our forms here. Through here, around, right. Okay, so let's move on now to the side profile view over next door, over here. So we'll prop that profile photo in. Okay, get this cleaned up a little bit, keep our drawings clean. There we go. So coming over here now, we're set up in profile, and we're bending downward. So we are trending with this angle in mind downward. Now, depending upon how much of this other side, now if I tilt it like this, see how I don't see the other ilium over here, but if I do a little bit in through here, I can still make that call. So I think I'm going to open it up just a little, something like this, and have it there. We're still in a nice downward trend in through here. So we're going to find the center over here, which later on will get us to our pubic crest area as we move and around and up and through here. So that's very much on my mind. That's the first thing that's kind of very much on my mind, as this kind of comes over. Then we get the direct pull back. This is pulling back, okay, and around, and then slightly upward here where the tubercle is, the split of the tubercle where the cartilage will be later, well, right in through here, that tube, right? So we're going to see that. This is going to pull back and up this way, but then up and out. It gets narrower as it gets in further, like so. Then we have that come down. This opens up, and we're going to get the foramen coming in through here, over. So see, everything we could build right off a box really, really quickly. Coming down and over. And then we get this through here. And this is going to this foramen, see how these come out a little bit? These start to bulge out, so you get that bulging just a little bit here. They're kind of rectangular rounded. Then you're going to get, that's basically on that 45, like we were or are over here. That's important to see. So we want to get that 45. Nice change in direction. Okay, so that's 45 coming in perspective here and over. Then it's going to basically feel like it's pulling back. That's what this line is for. We're pulling back around and over and under here and through. We can break this off. So see how we can get now. It was pretty good where I put that. Not bad. Now, but the aspect of it. It's interesting about the acetabulum. Acetabulum. I just get my pronunciations wrong. How about the hip joint? They're actually kind of turned and they're protruding, kind of like alien eyes, but they're protruding out and downward a little bit. So their aspect is a little bit more downward. I can kind of add them now here as I draw. So acetabulum, that's a nice word, I think. Too bad I murder it. And through here and around, like so. So, and this comes in, so it's like a crater, but then it has a little, kind of like a mouth here, ridge, and then outward, okay, and then it comes over, right in through here, right, and this is like a little ridge in there. It's cartilaginous, it's going to be covered in cartilage to help, you can imagine this bone rattling against the other. And there's a little floor, ceiling, right in through here and up and over, so we have a ceiling to that, right in through there, okay, and this wraps in up here like a little ball, because then this gets us a little bit more to the under rhythm of the actual movement over back in through here. So you can kind of see what's happening now back over on the other side, up roughly over through here. This connects the pubic tubercle, goes out a little bit, it gets more knobby. We're right here on our drawing, right over here. So it gets more knobby, then it comes underneath and does a turn in here, like so. Gets thinned out, and then as it starts to undercut and keep that bowl, it's going to come down and be part of the foramen. Right in under here, so foramen here, and so we get the acetabulum, and then we get this under foramen right in through here. This I'd like to see a little bit longer now as we come over through. Luckily, I can get a little shadow under there. You get that a little bit longer. There we go, like so. This will want to push. This is kind of boxy in through here. And then this will want to push over. And this is an opening now. So now we have this opening here of the foramen. So the foramen backs right into the acetabulum. How about that? As we draw. So if we open that up a little bit, we can see that this will curve up and over a little bit and come underneath a little bit further. Okay. So let's get now the ilium part coming up. So remember, this guy is like an opening, it's a ball joint. And there's a ligament area. There's a wonderful ligament here, the grand femur ligament right in through here that attaches. So all this is really a wonderful ball-like shape. So the femur can attach, the head of the femur, the trochanter, can attach right on in there. So let's get the ilio wing and the crest. There's that word again, crest. All right, we come over and up. Okay, and then we get this movement here. Right, so now we're kind of stair-stepping our way up the crest and through here. So we're right in through in this region over here to here. So it makes you want to come up and over. This turns over a little bit here. Okay, right on top of the acetabulum, and then we're going to come up even further. There's one step, and then we're going to come up another step in through, and then we're going to get to the first part of the wing of the crest running through here. So we're now right in through this area, right in through here. I want to really emphasize this coming over, and this coming underneath, like so. There we are. So now we're going to come up. And just to feel it all squared out, sometimes we'll get the volume of it really winging over here, getting thicker in this area, coming down, okay, and over. And then we get close to the sacral area, coming through here. So this, again, this aspect is how important, you know, that is to getting that tilt of that bowl. So again, we get the bird wing look, or the bat wing here. Right in through here is where the crest ends, and it gets more sacral right in through here. So we're about right in on the behind, in through here, up through here actually. And then we come on down, and then you get, with the sacrum on, you get this little converging here where the this little sacral tail bulges out, and then it wants to point right back on in towards where we're at, right in through there. So we get that coming up in through. So we're coming on up in here. We get that. We get this bulkiness. This could be actually a little bulkier. There we go. Get that bulkiness here, and a little bit wide. I'm actually going to bring it in. So I want to make sure we get that correct. That's a little incorrect. So we got to work to get correct. See, even I make mistakes. Don't ever let anybody tell you that. They're always down. Mistakes are great. No big deal. So we'll come back, and so we got a little too long in through here. Back up the crest, over, and then back down in through here. Then we're coming back down the crest, the ilium, through here. Okay. And so this whole thing, you could have one rhythm first in through there. Then we can find, matter of fact, we'll do that before we add the sacrum on through there, coming in over, and we get this nice underturn in through here, like so. And then we get to the sacral area. Right in through here, we can get these processes on. So this whole movement is very much a curve. We can see it in that direction as very much a curve back in, because the sacrum itself curves back in. Then we come through here on over to the end of the coccyx, and it comes in pretty curved on over even further, right in through there. Then we start to get the grooves of the spinous processes. Here, 1, 2, 3, 4, and then 5 in through there. And we get this side part of here, right in through here, of the side part of the sacrum, right in through here. We're still simplifying enough. We could be here all day rendering out little details. It could be fun on your own. And this gets a little flattened in through here. There we go. It's a better rendering, and I'll put some of this now in shadow so we can see that. We'll put this, there we go, in through here and downwards. There we go. We'll cover up the mistake. How about, see, you can always cover your tracks right in through there. Don't worry about it. All right, so let's go back and finish out the crest. This gets a little boxier back, and this back part curves through. This wants to curve now over a little bit as we see that. Then this gets, as it's downward trending, it's going to get more in shadow right there. You can see that shadowing out, coming back over. This moves. And now we get up to the outside. Now we're on the back side over here. So this comes out in through here like so. And what's happening is, now I can get even more specific, is we get the top part of it out through here and coming up over, like so, and down. And these will move a little bit. And then we've got this little crest head, little fatter part in through here. And then it gets a little bit thinned out down in through here. What's happening here, this is important, this comes over, okay, over here. And then this comes down. It's kind of like the side of the mountain. It kind of undercuts. You see how I'm undercutting that just a little bit? Just for a little bit. And see how this undercuts. Now we have to overcut the other way. So now we're coming up. This is undercutting in through here. Okay. And then what we want to see over here now, this little divot, this cuts underneath and wants to curl over like so. This is curling around back on the inside and through here. That's curling in. This is turning in like so. Light coming in, and then the point of all this is this comes over. See that coming over here and over here, underneath, then over, underneath, then over, under and over, like that. And so I could get a little bit more shadow. I'm hesitant to put all that in shadow because I want you to see some of that contour line in through there. A little bit of thickness on this lip. Coming down, there we go, like so. Hopefully that will help you see that positioning as this comes down, because this would be more in cast shadow. There we go. And around. Okay, now I'll put just the contouring outline of the other side so we can kind of finish that off and see how that box worked well for us. So we shaved off the box here. We found this part of the nobule of the end of the iliac crest right in through here, okay? This little boxy rounded part. Turning in over here a little bit on the shadow side. And around. On the other side in perspective now, so we can feel that over here, okay? Flaring out, widening out over here, so that gives me an idea where I'm at, coming in through, over, up above our box. Now our box is just a construction. Now we're coming up and through to here on the other side, then over, widening out slightly, and then coming back in. So it widens out as it goes out. So it comes out a little bit, then it comes back in. These are on an angle. They're not straight up. That's why that bowl is a good thing to use too. These are very much, these wings are on an angle as they flare up, and then they want to come back down. And then that would disappear. We would not see the sacrum back in through that position. And through there. All right. Now we'd also get a little bit, maybe of the foramen on the other side, roughly in through here in the bottom parts, perhaps in through and up, just gently coming through, like so. Then coming on around and get that bowl positioning in through there. There we go. All right. Let's put a little light on it. We'll finish it out, clean it up a little bit. So the point is to draw it in your, get it into your memory of a bowl or a box. And just draw bowls and boxes in different positions, and then put the pelvis, the simplified, crude pelvis, volumetric pelvis in there. And then later on, can you do more quicker, these, I would call these still kind of a quicker anatomical study of the form, right? And then later on, if you want to go, I think I will do one where it's a real long, drawn out pelvis. I just kind of just put this in through here. Like I'll do a long, drawn out one of a real deep anatomical study, since that's also part of art historical traditions, especially in Russia. They do this. I tend to shy away from them in my student classes because we want to get as much positioning as you can. The point is to remember them and be able to draw them out of your head, but you're going to have to remember in a more simplified way. But there's nothing wrong with doing a detailed study. I think I'll do one just to show everybody how that goes too as well. Just connect with different countries and artistic practices. So this overturning here, overturning, 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 overturning. This would get lighter, and then can show that even better by going under, turning back in to the form and through there. So what I'm showing is, you feel it, underturning here, overturning, and then back to underturn. So there's a ridging in through here, underturn, up and over. Put your hands on these bones and really feel them for what they can be for study. So let's put a little light on some of this, maybe right up in here on the crest. And then maybe back right in through here, that might be okay. And then through here, top and acetabulum, maybe at the bottom, just to get a feel for it. I think we've got what we need now. So I want to go on to the last one here and see what we can do with our final 1 3/4 looking from above. A little bit more difficult particular pose here. Let me sharpen up a little bit and we'll talk about that. So I constructed this one, bottom one here, out of a bowl and also a boxworm, didn't I? So a little bit of both to compare how you can use both of them for your needs quite a bit. And depending upon your conceptualization, where you want to place it, you can use either one of those in your practice. I think that's going to be part of the learning here of anatomy and understanding, is that both of these concepts are going to be well worth your time. And depending upon the position that you're thinking of, and also from observation, they can be relevant at different times. And so you'll have essentially a larger tool chest, if you will, as well. All right, so let's see when I race through. Get that a little bit turned through there. There we go. Maybe I'll put a little bit of light in there as well, coming in through here. Just a little bit over. All right, so we have that now. All right, so the last one here, the 3/4 positioning of the pelvis. So a little bit more challenging to conceive of. So as we come on down here, we'll work with the sacrum now here. And we're going to work it over here. Okay, so we've already got some of our positioning, I think, laid in. We've got our bowl laid in. We know where our ilium are. I think the ischium are going to be a little bit more difficult to kind of fish out and tease out a little bit, because we're in this more difficult perspective looking down. But now we have the crest coming over, coming through here and around, okay, right in through here. So we're finding their edge. Once I find an edge, like I am over here, what I'll do is I'll get its thickness laid out. Most of the thickness is on now the other side. So get that rim over through here. I'll find it, bring it down to the next step. Remember, we're right roughly in through there, right? Bring it down to the next step. And then I'll transfer it over, right, in perspective, in my mind. I'm just showing you what I'm thinking here, all the way over to here. And in the other step too, the crest, right in through here. So we're roughly now over here in our position, up and outward. So the outward aspect, again, take notice of that, how important that is, that outward aspect to our drawing. So we're here with that first step, and then we're out again, and then we can come out and bring it back on in. So then this gets heavier. So then you find where you're at, and where you're at your, what I call the geography of drawing, or where's your location. This is going to turn in, around, and come back and in. And again, everything is popping out as it is curving around. That's important. So then what we get is we get this rounded part of this edge. See how it also twists a little bit? So here's the ridge edge here, and then it disappears, and it picks up back up again over here as it comes up underneath, curls around, gets wider, and then will actually disappear here a little bit, and then we get the top ridge back coming over, back in through there, and then it starts to come underneath, okay, and over. So that's the end of the wing coming over. This will be shaved down a little bit through here, okay. Then this will come up. It's coming around, and then it's coming on down, and it really takes a turn here, but it's still got a little bit more of the bone coming in through here. So you get that ribbing. We're right in through this region over there. Okay, so now this will curve out as the sacrum says, hey, I'm here, and I'm coming to make an appearance. Now this will get shaved in, okay, grooved, right, like so. And then this will come out like that, really pulling out, like so, up. Okay, we're coming on in. Now I can start to really dig into this area, be confident what I've got so far is working pretty well. If you need to change, I did, remember, up through there. Then we have the sacral parts. Again, this top shelf of the sacrum, I think of it like a box almost always. Up in here, and then it curls a little bit, and then it wants to curl downward, then it's going to go down. So that always creates this little ridge of shadow, almost always. This curls in, it's kind of like a bow tie. So we're over here, we can't see it over there, coming through here, and down, like so, okay? And then I'll get, since this is the center part here, this comes down, and then it wants to come out, like that. Okay, so here we had it just in the middle. Here now we're right where we're on the edge coming down. So in perspective, that's going to push us curved over. The sacrum is really curved, but it also gets narrower. That makes it a little bit harder to draw. So here we have that nice edge across here, and then we get that real, what I call kind of an ornamental look to it. It's very ornamental here, and then over, just kind of up over, and kind of get circular, and then we end up right up in through. Kind of got my arrow in the way there, right in through there. There we go. So this comes up and over, and curls back in, like so. Now, sitting on top, the last vertebral area in through here, kind of this disc that we see here. Okay, this flattens out. We see, and then we see it pull back up, and this helps with that sort of divot where all those sacrospinalis muscles are at. and then out and through, kind of heads off and through here. And then we get a little spinous process emerging back through here, and then trending really down, we then a little transverse process in here, and also in through here. Not that important for now. So we've got that just located. So we're feeling pretty good about this bowl coming around. And again, this bowl underturns, right? Okay. And then under here it turns, right? And then on this view, we're going to start to see the ischium curve in. So they're curving back, curving underneath. And so we'll kind of mark them just like we did right over here. Again, right here and right here. So we've got that going for us. So we've got that. And they're going to be, you can bring them parallel over and mark them as it comes up and down right through here. Okay, and here. We've got that coming around. And then they're going to come back up, all the way back up. Go underneath the foramen there, up around, underneath the acetabulum, the hip point, the hip joint through acetabulum and through here. And they're going to come underneath, and they're going to come around here. So we can get some of that, and that's going to narrow this little ridge into here a little bit further. So now we're moving up, and the undercurrent of there we go, the sacrum will start to get now over here to the tubercle, pelvic tubercle, right? Actually, let's bring a little bit in here. There we go, right in through there. So we can start to feel this. Now, this is a gradual turn in here, right under this. This is coming up and also going down, if you want to feel it that way. This is going down or coming up, but it's getting shaved off gradually down to the ischium in through here. Just connect over, okay, around. Right through there. Heading off in through here, this gets shaved down. And so what we get now is a little bit of a ridge head right in through here and here, where it flattens out a little bit. You can start to see it on your skeleton there, right in through there. So this is now turning. Okay, and then getting a little bit of this bulkiness right in through here. This kind of cupping. This wants to cup over. This is cupping in through here. Underneath. Okay, so this cups, right? Cupping in through here. And just slides on down. Like so. Slides on down. There we go. And this moves across and over. Okay. This is kind of a little cup again, running through there. It's lighter over here because of the light source. It just gets buried in through there. There we go. So remember, this was a downward process. You can see, hopefully I could illustrated this in the drawing, where this flattens out a little bit. Right, we'll see this layer gets a little lighter. Right in through here, that's where it flattens. Now this is going to come, I'm going to draw a little line here. It's not going to be perfectly lined up because we're on top of this. Now there's a spatial distance. This is important between, or in this bowl region. The sacral tip with the coccygeal tip is much lower down here, okay, than up here. it's quite lower, and that's important to know. So this won't line up quite nicely, but that's okay. The cartilage is here. I just want you to know that. But it is roughly in the center, both of them. And the cartilage will come down a little bit here. Okay, and over. We'll get a little bit of a hubbing in through there. We're going to get a little bit of this downward aspect here. Okay. So this is where a nice box view comes into play. Okay. Right in through here. Now, these flatten back out. So we're on these little tubercles. Right in through here, these little hubs, right? Through here. These want to come up from this flat ridge now and over and give us a little this kind of bumping in through here and through, and it comes down kind of like a box. And remember, this is where we start to come out a little bit later at 45. So we'll come back and through here and outwards. And we've got this thinning out here. And then this head, this has another head here, a couple of heads in through here. Here we go. That's it. Now we can start to get this aspect now. 45 in perspective here and outwards in this direction. So now what's going to happen is we're going to feel this coming downward through, get a little bit of a head, and then it's going to come down. We're at the ischium, remember that. In through here. Okay. And remember, as we start to come down these ridges further in through here, we're on top of the acetabulum. And then back over through here. So this wants to turn in like so. This wants to turn. This is a little bit more of a thickness through here. This wants to turn in. And so we get now a little bit more of this opening underneath here. It's kind of hard to see since it's covered up. That's fine. Right in through here. Getting a little bit of the top sheath of the head, kind of the roof of it, down in through here and over. And there's that ridge, and that's where the attachment now of the femur will go into, and then we get a little bit now of the foramen coming over. And through, it's right next to it, underneath it, a little bit of that coming through. Okay. So we've just about cleaned that out, almost, and then we're going to have this come back over, so you can gauge in perspective where that's going to fit into, about right here. So again, I'm drawing mine from life. Yours is from the reference for now. Okay, out and up and through here. And then the aspect is this way. Okay. So now we've got this part of the pelvis up and through and over. And we've got the very top part now of the hip point, the hip joint here. You can kind of see it emerge as this takes off. Down in here underneath, a little bit of that circular bulging where it gets a little bit darker. You can kind of see it underneath here, like so, and come around. And so what that means is this is getting thinned out here, and this is turning over, like so. There we go. And through, and then we can get the rest of this part moving back in this direction. And there we go. And get a little bit of the foramen coming through here. We can put that back in shadow. Right in through here. All right, I think we've got now 3 pelvises, I suppose, drawn out. and analyzed for their shape and position in more of their form. I'll throw a little light on it and finish these out. We can talk a little further. So it's really not that bad. I think the hardest thing you're going to have is probably keeping perspective on some of these parts edge to edge. I think that's going to be a little bit harder to mount, and I've got to make sure that you get clear on that. You get clear photographs that you're working from. You should already be doing that, so that'll be a problem I'll have to solve off camera, and you won't even have to worry about it because you'll be drawing it anyway. So let's put some finishing aspects here, make these a little bit cleaner. Now there's a whole nother level we can go to of drawing real deep rendering, and I'm going to do one maybe of a pelvis. It'll be a while after, but just so you see what the difference in the processes look like. This is probably my favorite level. It gives you a really strong understanding, but it's not photoreal. We don't need photoreal, but there's still a level of detail that you can get to that I don't think it's important for this stage of the game. Hopefully you guys understand that for my descriptions. If not, just let me know. So we'll come out of here a little bit. Let's add a little bit of line. So anytime I want to add line, sometimes the pencil can get dirty, or spots where there's light, and I'll take the light out with eraser so I can hit in the light here. Actually, this would be lighter on that ridge there. All right, I think I'm ready to add a little bit, maybe along here, and then along this ridge. Maybe along this ridge, pop in a highlight or two along here to the tubercle. It's a little hard to see there, but we've got that. I can push this back a little bit of space. So let's take a look and see that profile. Take a look right in through this back as it comes through. Yeah, it comes through a little softer, doesn't it? Okay, here. Comes around. Softens out a little bit. A little bit more gradual. We'll put that sacrum behind it a little darker. Just let that sit back a little bit. Okay. All right, I think we've got everything we need now to the study. All right, so the next study point will be to start talking about the femur and then adding the muscles together. So how the femur locks into the pelvis, the shape of the femur, the length of it and the aspects of the femur, the trochanter, the tubular part, the rough line in the back, and the medial and lateral condyle in the front and back of the femur. It's a real powerful bone, powerful area of the body, and an important one that's coming up as we continue on with the pelvis and what's really going to be the femur too.